Hey, I'm Xavier Johnson, and it's 100 degrees outside. But today we're gonna play with something that's 10,000 degrees. You're looking at Crash Course. Do you ever wonder what holds bridges, roller coasters, and even metal tables together? Well, that would be welding. Welders have been holding these things that we love and enjoy together for years on end. They use cutting-edge technology to hold together and fix some of America's essential structures, making well over $40,000 a year, all while seeing the country grow and expand to new heights. They help build things like skyscrapers, bridges, and fuse together most of the things that we need. Here with Daniel Smith, NCC welding instructor. He is going to teach me how to arc weld today. And let me tell you guys, it is difficult and I'm excited to learn, but it's also very hot. How are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to have you guys in here. I'm excited to show off what we've got going on in here on a daily basis. And I'm just ready to get into it. I love talking about welding. It's like ADHD-ish hyperfixation type of thing. So like, stop me when you need to, but I'll just spit words at you about it.
Okay.
As long as you want, all right?
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and have some fun.
Okay, so what we're doing today, if we want to get into a little bit of science, we're doing a process called arc welding. Okay. And so the way that works is basically this welding machine here is generating an electrical current, all right? And we're creating an electrical circuit through our electrode holder and our ground piece. And that's hooked up to our table or our workpiece. And what's happening there is when we complete that circuit, it makes an arc. And that arc has to bridge an air gap. So if you're familiar with any sort of like electrical sort of stuff, you'll know that certain materials have different like resistances.
Yeah.
Or they're good conductors, right? Air is a horrible conductor, all right? So it takes a lot of force and pressure to move through that air. In the process, it generates a tremendous amount of heat, okay? And that's what's melting down the metal, okay? So I mentioned with our arc welding, we're doing stick today, or SMAW, shielded metal arc welding.
Okay.
So that uses this electrode holder here. So this is your handle. And what we do is we put one of these electrodes in to it right here. And so the machine sends the electricity through this electrode. Now this is a consumable electrode. It's also covered in something called flux, all right? So during the welding process, this flux breaks down, it creates smoke and gas that shield that molten puddle as we go.
Okay.
All right. So now that we're gonna roll into this, you're wearing some stuff you don't wear every day.
No.
All right. When I'm walking around Nash Community College, I don't see you in your welding jacket.
Absolutely.
So
not.
we're gonna talk about some of the stuff that I've put you in.
Okay.
And we're gonna talk about why we're wearing it and what it's doing for us. All right.
Okay.
First of all, you came in here with a T-shirt.
Yes.
All right. I gave you this welding jacket to put on while we're doing this whole ordeal.
And I thought I had planned it out by just wearing a regular T-shirt.
So a lot of people, listen, you see some, it is ill-advised, but you see people doing it. And I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't. So these long sleeves are really important because while we're doing this welding process, one, there's a lot of sparks flying everywhere. These things will burn through your clothes really easily, like without a second thought. So having this extra layer that's made out of 100% cotton or a flame retardant material will help like protect your clothing and your skin.
Okay.
Another reason for the long sleeves is this arc that we're making with the arc welding process is incredibly bright. It's like a miniature sun, and it gives off UV radiation like that miniature sun.
Okay.
So, you know a farmer's tan?
Yeah.
You want the craziest farmer's tan of your life? Weld without long sleeves on. All right. You'll walk away with the nastiest sunburn you've ever had.
Yeah.
All right?
I can imagine.
And nobody wants that.
No.
Everybody's been to the beach, forgot their sunscreen. You are miserable for days and days and days afterwards. So we wear these long sleeves to help protect from that as well.
Okay.
All right. A couple of other things. You've got these thick, heavy gloves.
Yeah.
All right. So these are welding gloves that are specifically designed for the stick welding process. So one of the reasons we use stick welding is on like heavy material, thick material. And so sometimes we're working at really high amperage ranges. And in general, welding also generates a lot of heat.
Okay.
So with those sparks flying up, the pieces heating up, this is going to shield your hands from the heat and insulate them. So additionally, we've got this face shield for you. I mentioned earlier about how that flux on the outside of the rod turns into slag once we're done welding. Now, in order to put more weld passes and have our finished weld before we paint or whatever we're going to do to finish our weld, we need to chip that slag off. Okay. All right. In that process, little bits of it go flying off everywhere because we're chipping it away with a hammer. We're putting force into it. It shoots off. It's hot. It's sharp. We want to protect our face and our eyes.
And I like my eyes.
And you love your eyes.
I like my eyes.
The other thing is with the safety glasses and with the face shields, you really need to be wearing them in tandem. It's like, especially walking around the shop because other people are working too, generally. So when you're walking around, there's sparks flying, there's slag flying, there's all this sort of stuff going on, all right? And then finally, we have this very nice welding helmet that we have you borrowing. I mentioned earlier the UV radiation, the brightness of the arc. This filters that through a lens here so you can see what you're doing. It protects your eyes from that radiation as well. All right. Also, just like this face shield, it protects. It's full face coverage, right? So while you're welding, your face is protected from the sparks. You're also not getting that really gnarly sunglasses sunburn on your face that everybody loves to get after a trip to the beach.
Sure.
So go ahead and put down. I like to lean up against this table, and then when you strike it, that's striking the arc. Okay. All right. When you go to deposit the material, you're gonna see a little puddle form. I want to point it out to you while I'm doing it. Okay. You're just gonna try and move at a rate that keeps that puddle the same size. Okay. All right. So when we're actually welding, that's gonna look like this. And see that little rippling part is our puddle? Yeah. So I'm just moving at a steady pace with that. Okay. And then like I said, when it comes to this isn't our weld bead. Over top of this is slag right here. So we've got to use this scraping motion. And get in there, practice that tapping or that flicking motion, and then see if you can just go alongside this one to deposit that metal. I'll walk you through it while we're doing it. Okay. So, when this happens, you're stuck to the piece. Go ahead and grab this, unclip it from there, and then take that off there. Okay. And then this is usually easiest the more stable you are. So if you lean on the table and get that support, it's easier to touch it on there. bit easier if you try and come in straight up and down for that tap method. And even with that flick from side to side, the more you're like this, the harder it is to get it to pull up. All right?
Okay.
So with that, and if it sticks that little bit, you saw how I was able to do that little roll motion to pick it up. I have been welding now for half a decade. Okay? So I went through a whole journey. I used to work in kitchens, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. Welding seems cool.
Welding seems
So
cool.
I went to welding school at a community college here in North Carolina. Shout out North Carolina Community College System. We love you. And then as I was doing that, I got a job in fabrication, finished my degree, got a job teaching there part-time. So like I've really, if you think about it, hard enough, I've got like a decade worth of experience in 5 years of welding, right? Because I've got all these overlapping things going on. And so like that's kind of how it happened for me. And like I see that with a lot of students when they come in. We'll see how you turn out. We'll see.
I feel like I'm gonna do terrible.
You think
I've never done it before.
Okay, well that's a reasonable expectation. You know, if you're gonna go into something for the first time, be like, I'm okay if I'm not great at this.
And this is one thing that I'm okay if I'm not great at it.
Yeah, because you've got us here. If you ever need someone to fix your trailer, we've got you. All right, so you're getting the hang of striking the arc, right? So as you can see, it helps a bit when you go in there with a bit of intention. You know, you let the welder know we're welding now, right? You strike that arc. After that, you're doing a great job coming up like that. The thing you have to do after that, because coming up like that helps you keep it from sticking onto the metal.
Okay.
Once you come up like that, you've got to come back down until the arc stabilizes again. Okay? So what that means is, you see how when you come up like that, the light is kind of like bending and playing everywhere, and there's like stuff shooting off everywhere? The closer you get, the less area it has to wander around in that air gap. And so with that, the less space it has to wander, the more direct that arc is going to be.
Okay.
So let me show you, take from where you are right now, with coming up, having that unstable arc, and then we're going to go back in to where about this far, this thickness away from the metal, and that you'll see how that stabilizes it, and then we can start actually depositing metal. Okay. So with this, we're gonna go ahead and flick, get our arc started. You're right here, and then we come in, and now all that force is in one spot, right?
Yeah.
And it's much easier to control. And then when we're ready to finish, we just flick it back towards where we went over.
Okay.
All right? A little bit closer. A bit closer. Perfect. Back in, back in. So finding that sweet spot is the key to all this, all right? Finding your arc length and knowing to watch the weld puddle and knowing what that's supposed to look like, those are, if you can figure those two things out, you can weld anything, all right? That's what I tell all my students. You come in here, you learn how to watch the puddle, and you learn how to get that arc length right, you're golden. You can take that, you can transfer it onto any metal, any position, and you're set. Okay. All right?
I'm getting the hang of it.
You're picking up pretty quick. You're better than a lot of my students that roll in here. We might need to get you enrolled in some welding courses. If you're ever interested in a career change, this might be it for you. Or, pick something up in retirement whenever you're ready. You can build your own trailer. You know?
Okay. what kind of jobs will students, once they graduate the program, what kind of jobs are they looking at?
So a lot of students anticipate going into and just doing welding. And that's like a reasonable thing to expect, right? It's what most people go into. And those kind of jobs cover things like ironworking, setting up structures for large buildings, doing pipe welding work, working in general fabrication, just building things. We have a couple local companies such as Construct and Edwards that do a lot of different fabrication projects. But what we try and do with our program is we also try and make sure that we impart skills and knowledge in like the science aspect. So if you want to take this and you want to go into a management job, we go through the OSHA classes here. So you can get in a supervisory job. There's also pathways for becoming a welding inspector after you get out of school. Those are the people who go around to the bridges, to the skyscrapers, to the pipeline systems, and they inspect all these welds to make sure that they're strong and they'll hold. And there's a lot of science that goes into that that we give you like a glimpse into, so that when you go take those courses, those prep courses, so that you can get one, if you want to do that, you're set up for it.
Okay.
And then also like, there's other things people don't think about, like there's robotic welding, automotive industry, setting up, programming those machines. If you take robotics classes, you take welding classes, you can combine those two things. And now you have this baseline of like, all right, I know how to program the robots and I know what welding looks like.
Yep, so I can put them together.
So I can put those together, all right? And that's a little bit more involved than just like the welding program. That you got to take some extra classes for that. But like those are the kind of things that you can look at in terms of the prospects of the jobs you're going to go into. And we try and make sure the students know that. It's not just going out working on the pipeline. It's not just going into your local welding shop. Because like there's shipyards, there's building construction, there is pipeline, there's underwater welding, there's all of these things that you can do that's out there waiting for you.
So the opportunities are pretty much limited.
Good, good. Too far, too far. All right. So that was a weld bead, okay? Let's brush this off and look at it. I could see it going in. You were still too far away, but you can see here how we have that distinctive ripple pattern going on now.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for at the end. When we brush away all that slag with this welding rod, we want that ripple pattern on there. So the way that looked, that puddle, how it was going, that's what you're looking for when you put your weld bead in, all right? Be a little bit closer to the metal and just move and watch for how that looked. Okay. Right? Another thing that might be getting you caught up is you got to remember these stick electrodes, they're consumable. So as you're welding, they're shrinking. Okay. So you've got to kind of think about that as well. You can't only move in the direction of the weld, you have to push in as you go. Okay. All right. We're on the cusp of greatness. You're like 5 arc strikes away from being a welder. Okay. All right. Do you think you can do it in? I said 5. Do you think you can do it in 3?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's shoot for 3.
Let's shoot for 3. All right. Let's see what we can do here. What do you think, Xavier? You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I feel like you go first.
All right.
So then it's going to take you a lot faster.
All right, that is true. Also, great opportunity to learn some more before you're put to the test.
Yeah.
All right. So while you're watching me, pay attention to pay attention to how close it is. Also, pay attention to the sound. Okay. All right. When you're putting in a good weld and you have the right arc length, there's a distinctive sound, almost like crackling bacon, frying up a good fish, something like that, right? Good home cooking. If you know how to point out that sound, it can be another indicator to help you find your rhythm, all right? Okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get in here. I'm gonna put this weld in. just like that.
Perfection.
Now, did you notice how that sounded?
Yeah.
Specifically, just like how I said, like that frying, crackling sound,
yep.
right? So let's move this out of your way. We're gonna wait to break off this slag and do a big reveal at the end. We're gonna look at yours and look at mine.
Okay.
Too. Because just kind of interesting to see. I've been doing this for years. You've been doing this for a couple minutes. And you're giving me a run for my money. All right, in terms of how long it took me to learn this and how quick you're picking it up, I might be out of a job if you ever decide to come for me. All right, so
we're gonna see.
Here's this for you. There's your electrode holder. So we're gonna do the other side too.
Okay. Yeah, because I jumped around.
Yeah. At the end, you were looking great. So one thing I want to ask you about whether you noticed it. Did you see how it got wet and then flowed together? That's what you're looking for.
Okay.
That's the two pieces of metal becoming one. Because like with the welding process, it's not like glue. It's not adhesion. We are breaking down this metal into a liquid and they are fusing together. They are one piece when we're done with this.
Okay.
Right? So
I want to try again.
Yeah, we're gonna flip it over. It's already prepped for you on the other side. I've got my extra side if you need another one. So that's another thing to let you know how fast to go. Because travel speed is also really important. You don't want to jump ahead before the part you're on is fused together. Because then you'll have spots where you have great fusion, but then you didn't quite get it melted together right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So, we've got that flipped over.
Try two.
Try two. How do you feel about that one?
I feel good about that one. That one I feel good about.
So, at the very end, you got a bit too far away. That's why your weld puddle got so big like that.
Okay.
All right? But all through here, perfect.
Okay.
You did a great job. You take your wire brush, and you can get all that dust and soot off of there. And that's a nice little arc weld right there. Nice, even appearance, smooth ripple pattern. That's what we're going for.
Okay.
Let's see how you did.
We're gonna see.
So another way, one of the ways to tell before you can get the slag off of here, how good your weld was, is how easy it is to get off.
Okay.
All right. So, and that has to do with that smooth appearance. So if it's really bumpy or like has a lot of divots in it, this flux that forms over the top is gonna get into those divots. It's gonna cool and expand, and then it's gonna be hard to get out of there. Right.
You guys, that's it. I welded my first piece of metal together. See? Look, terrible, good, bad, good. I feel like I did a pretty good job for my first time.
For the amount of time we spent welding, you did a phenomenal job.
Okay.
I'm very impressed with you.
Okay, thank you so much. And alongside me, Daniel Smith, if you want to know more information about welding, you can just go to nashcc.edu or visit your local community college.
All right, so now all that's left is to do the hammer test.
What's the hammer? Wait!